Welcome to Raise High at George Washington with Chris Caputo, Season 2. How exciting are you?
I'm excited. Season 2. A lot of new faces, but a lot of good things going on.
You know, it's when driving in here to do the show, it's a beautiful day out there in Washington. You got the monuments, this campus. You come in, there's all kinds of energy around.
It's like 70 degrees too.
Yeah, and your first year here, you probably didn't take any of that in because you're trying to build a team. You went 16-16, fantastic job. Beat South Carolina here, win at St. Bonaventure. We could go down the road of how good of a year it was. Have you taken a step back and looked back and relaxed? And what a great job you did. What a great job this is. What a great community George Washington is, and how lucky you are to be the coach.
Yeah, it's not lost on me. Every time I come in and you drive in, you see the monuments, you're riding along the Potomac. This is the best city campus in America, so it's not lost on me to know how lucky we all are to work here, to play here, and to go about our business every day.
That's a good segue to. It's also not lost on James Bishop, all-league player, Maximus Edward, Rookie of the Year. In this climate of college basketball now, Chris, where you run a really good conference, the A-10 is a great historical conference, but it's not a Power 5. Those two guys could have gone anywhere in the country, and they chose to stay here, and it wasn't even close. They're very happy here. Can you talk about that process? This is ongoing in college basketball. James Bishop could have literally gone anywhere he wanted in the country.
Sure.
And for him to stay here and to fully commit back to coming back to you, talk about that.
Yeah, I think, anybody who stays, it's because they're having a great experience. And then one of the things we need to do here is obviously have success, but create a great experience for our players, create an environment where they can, feel like they're really getting better, that there's a service mentality from the staff in terms of helping them in every way, on the court, off the court, in the classroom. And so, before you start thinking about wins and losses, when you can create that environment for your players, I think it gives you a chance to have success. And so for those guys, I think both of them felt like, hey, I got better. People care about me here, and this is a great environment. And so, very proud to bring those guys back. And I think anybody who can have some level of continuity in this environment can have some success as well. So, again, great to have them back.
Yeah, I go around the country. I think the continuity and getting the right players to return, and they say that, no, this is where I want to be and graduate and be a part of, is a huge factor. Now, Bishop, if there's one thing he could work on to get to the NBA, what would that be? What do you think the one thing, what are the NBA guys? I know they come by practice. What are they telling you?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously he got himself in the best shape of his life. I think, when people watch him, starting on Monday here and to start our season, I think they'll see a guy who is in great shape. A couple of NBA scouts have come to practice and made mention of that. I think becoming more consistent from three off the catch, I think, was important for him. He's worked diligently there as well. But he's playing point guard full time now, and that was not necessarily his reputation prior to last year. But I think showing the ability to play the point, the first guy, I think, in the A-10 since 2003 to have 21 points, 5 assists. He is a great scorer, but he's a very unselfish player as well.
And that combination is what the NBA is looking for now. You can't just be a one-dimensional guy. You have to be able to score. Maximus, I love him. He really got really better. It was really his first year playing because he didn't get to play at Kansas State. What do you tell him in scouting terms? See, now he's on page 1.
Correct.
We're highlighting him. Stop Maximus, keep him off the boards, make him go right, whatever it is.
Yeah.
How is your adjustment? Like, what has that been like?
It's different. I mean, I think, Brendan Adams won most improved player in the league last year, and Max won Rookie of the Year, but I think our staff would say he was the most improved player from the start of the season to the end. But now your role changes, right? You go from being, one of the rookies, and people view a rookie class within a league a certain way, and you were picked to be the best one of those guys, but now you're in the pile, with everybody else, and he's preseason second team all league, but that doesn't really mean anything, right? You've got to play to that level.
He's going to be on the whiteboard for the he's going to be starred. Everyone knows who he is.
Yep.
However, he's also going to get better because he's got a really. I love he's got a high ceiling because I think he does a lot of stuff besides score.
Yeah, he really rebounds. I mean, a guy had 20 rebounds in a game last year.
Yes, he did.
He really rebounds the ball. He shot good percentage from three. I think he's become a better defender on the ball. And so for him, it's just, continuing to evolve and understand that, to your point, hey, you're going to be in a different place on the scouting report. You're going to get a different level of defender, and how to play off the other guys as well, I think is going to be important for him.
Speaking of the other guys, last year it was amazing what you did with very little depth. What you inherited, you just chose to go a different way. You didn't bring a lot of guys in.
Yeah.
I admire that because sometimes you bring too many guys in, now they're here and they're unhappy. You just went with what you
I
had.
didn't want to have to start over twice.
Exactly.
know.
Mistakes I made. This is why you're smarter than me. Well, it's tough because, and plus GW is such a good place, no one's going to want to leave.
Right.
So sometimes you tell them, hey, we don't have any minutes for you. They're like, I'm cool staying here because it's a great place. We're going to go into the next segment. Before we get there really quick, though, you not only brought in freshmen, I believe Auburn has a player here, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma, right? These are big-time Power 5 schools that their players came and said, I want to come here and play for you. So really quick, and then we'll get into the next segment. Like, what's that like?
Well, I think we got a history of it right now. I mean, we had a history of success at transfers when I was at Miami, but now, after 1 year, when you have James Bishop from LSU's first team, we have Brendan Adams, his third team, and from UConn, when you have Max, who's the rookie of the year from Kansas State, we have a demonstrable history that we can move guys from that level and have them have a great success here.
Well, the next segment, we're going to talk about the new guys, including the freshmen. Back here at Raise High at GW.
Security. It's something we all want. Something we need to feel safe. It's everywhere we go. It's in everything we do. But the idea of safety can be overwhelming. How do you secure what you can't see? How do you secure your future? For 80 years, WAPA's group term life insurance has helped provide financial safety, security, and peace of mind to current and former civilian federal employees. To learn more, visit WAPA.org.
Welcome back to Raise High at George Washington here with Coach Chris Caputo. We have lots to talk about on the new players because you have freshmen, you have transfers, Zam from London, Stretch from Auburn, Benny from Oklahoma, but Benny, who was one of the top-rated European players 2 years ago. I believe he was like FIBA's top-rated guy.
Top 5. Yeah.
So, like, talk about that and the depth you're going to have. Let's start with the transfers before we go to the freshmen.
Yeah, well, I think the transfers really mirror our philosophy in terms of we want to be in the transfer market, we want to be international, and we want to be in the DMV, right?
So Benny, who's from Germany but went to Oklahoma
correct,
and played.
Correct, yep. And then, Stretch, who's at Auburn and international, he's Nigerian. Then you have Darren Buchanan, from Virginia Tech, who was right here in D.C. at Jackson Reed, same school as Ricky Lindo. And you have Garrett Johnson, from Northern Virginia.
That's the old Wilson High School for those keeping track, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Episcopal, Garrett Johnson from Northern Virginia was at Princeton. So, we're not going to go far away from the idea of having international players, having the DMV, having good transfers, maybe up and down 95. So I think our transfers actually mirror the philosophy overall.
And everybody's happy here. Garrett's an interesting one because Princeton went really far last year.
Yeah, he had
but
his injury,
he had a tumor
on his hip
that they took out of his hip, and he's an Episcopal. But he was watching a team that won big, Sweet 16 for Princeton. That's a big deal. So you get that. I like the mix. I knew Stretch a little because, I've watched Auburn play a lot. He can be a defender. You just need
some real rim presence.
Real one big guy in the Atlantic 10 makes a big difference.
A legit rim presence. He played against NBA, played with NBA players in the front court at Auburn.
Sure.
And so I think now his opportunity has come here, and we desperately needed rim protection. He provides it.
The freshman, Trey Autry, whose dad is now the head coach at Syracuse. I'm hearing he's firing away from three, and it's working.
Yeah, he can really shoot. I kid. Yeah, he was born in Reston. His mom. They lived there. Well, they lived there. His mom went to Georgetown, but she's from this area, so we kind of count him as a DMV guy, even though I think he left when he was about 7. But yeah, tremendous shooter. Really diligent worker. JaCoy Hutchinson from the DC area as well was at the Matha and then the IMG.
Right.
Yeah, just brings a level of toughness and competitiveness, winner's mentality. Really happy with him. Christian Jones, who's Max's buddy from Connecticut.
You got our savior?
Our savior, yep. And
big time high school.
Really big upside, long arms, got great instincts. Excited about him. And then Zam from London. Again, we hope maybe we have another Pops Mensah-Bonsu here. Zam's a really talented young player. He was on the London Lions, which is a Euro Cup team. It's the third
really
best league in the world. And
he had some other offers besides.
Oh yeah,
here.
no, he had opportunity to go to Davidson, to go to Wisconsin, and others. So, excited about Zam and our freshman group as a whole.
Those young guys getting to learn from a guy like Bishop. See, like Maximus is still young, even though he's good, but Bishop's been around block per se and chose to stay here. I really like that. You're going to have a road game at South Carolina. There was a big win here last year.
Yeah.
It's a Power 5 road game. You're going to go to the Bahamas and play some teams.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about the schedule? Some home, some away.
Yeah.
The South Carolina Power 5, and then, of course, Fordham here January 3rd is the most important. It's about the A10. It's about the league.
Of course.
But it preps you for the league. Talk about your schedule.
Yeah, we're trying to build our fan base. I think the idea that COVID kept fans away from here, some of the changes here as well. Like, we need to build some continuity with our fan base because we have a building that is really one of the best buildings, in all of college basketball. Certainly on the East Coast, and just a gem of a place. And so for us to have a number of home games is important. Going to South Carolina would be a great challenge. And obviously the teams we play Ohio U in the Bahamas. I mean, they're coming off NCAA tournament win 2 years ago. So excited about those opportunities, and I think it'll challenge us while also giving our young guys an opportunity to grow.
Yeah, you have a lot of games early, which is great for Georgia's Army. I thought Georgia's Army was a critical part of
awesome.
your success last year. Can you talk about
We're
you're going to grow that too?
We're going to. I mean, I think it's one of the best things we can do here at GW is show our student body, show our spirit. You see it on television; it looks great. They're right behind the bench. We're continuing to nurture that organization.
Georgia's Army, those are your fans today. They're the current student body fans. There's nothing more important in college sports than seeing the students, the actual students.
The only place where you get that, right?
Yeah, and this is right in campus. You did have a fantasy camp. Real quick, tell us about the fantasy camp you had, because those are your former.
Yeah, we had a bunch of great guys, at fantasy camp. Want to expose our players to successful people, love basketball, and bringing more people into the fold.
A fantastic season one with Coach Caputo here. We're excited for season 2. Up next, Coach McCombs of the women's basketball team is here to talk about what an exciting season she's going to have.
Gas prices got you fuming? No need to get heated. Save time and money with Metro. Ride, save, explore. Metro.
Welcome back to Raise High at GW. I'm Kevin Burke, and now joined by GW women's basketball head coach Caroline McCombs, entering her 3rd season here in Foggy Bottom. Coach, great to see you. How you been?
Great. It's great to be here.
You're a veteran of the program now as we enter the 3rd season of the McCombs era. Is there any time of year, maybe March, but this week before, that the excitement level is as high as it is for college basketball?
Definitely. It's a reality now. I mean, the preparation has to be on point. Practices have been a lot more fun, more energy, just gearing up to play that first opponent. You can get some scrimmages and things under your belt, but there's nothing like getting ready for that first game. Yeah,
the eagerness of playing Howard on Monday when you get your season started. Let's talk about how last season ended. You knocked off Duquesne in the A10 tournament, then you run into a really tough Rhode Island team that ended up playing longer in the season. And now you see Rhode Island's picked at the top, Duquesne's right there, and you guys are picked right there as well. Does it give you sort of some carryover from last season, seeing how it ended and how it comes into this season?
Yeah, I think, you always, when you end the season, with a loss, you kind of carry that with you for a while. And so I think as we have a veteran group, just coming back, understanding, what that looks like, how competitive the conference is, how every possession matters. And so I think that the league's going to be very good this year. There's a lot of balance. There's some pretty good teams. I think we're going to be pretty good as well. So just getting ready to compete and get after things this year.
Personally, where's your comfort level? You talk about, or you hear about kids going from underclassmen to upperclassmen. This is year 3, kind of that same transition. Where's your comfort level coming in, going through your 3rd go-around here at GW?
Yeah, I think we have some really good leaders, in the program, and we've brought in some, some more veteran players as well as some exciting newcomers. So it's just really blending all of those pieces together, but just from a comfort standpoint, just people understand, what the system is like, what the culture is like, just all of those pieces, putting them together, adding in some depth this year. So we're excited about it.
Take us in through how you're blending everybody, because, everybody can say, yeah, it's year 3 and you do have some experience coming back, but every unit's different. We hear that from coaches all the time. So how do you go about ingraining the culture with the newcomers and using your returners to perhaps help you with that?
Yeah, I think it's so vital. It's so important. You know, when you have leadership and you have people that choose to come back. So, you know, with our graduate students, you know, coming back, you know, it's just laying that foundation for those young freshmen, first years that are here. We've talked about a lot in the off season, right? Leave this program better than you found it, and just really instilling all of those things into our first years. And that's a process that takes time. When you have the veteran players that come in, they've been in college basketball for a while, so they're used to certain things a certain way. They have their habits, but they also understand what college basketball is like. Their pace is a little bit different than you're coming in from high school. So I think every year it's a work in progress. We're young, still figuring those things out, and then you have to go and compete to really, you know, see what you're like when you face those tests.
And you mentioned that you're veteran. You've got people literally that have been here for 5 or 6 years. Maya Wataiwo's in her 6th year. Essence Brown, Faith Bleth in her 5th years. Nia Locke's been here for a couple of years. You always hear coaches talk about make the transfer portal work for you. Well, those 4 all decided to come back, which is a rarity nowadays. What does that mean about the culture that you've instilled, and what do they represent for your program?
Yeah, I think that's been huge for us, just with those players choosing to come back here. It means a lot to us. We want to bring in good people that want to be around, you know, good people. And so we do a lot more than just play basketball. They hang out a lot together. And so I think that they develop those close friendships, and it really means a lot. They love GW, they love DC. So I think kind of, you know, where we are and how we do things intrigued all of them to stay and come back for one more year.
Was it perhaps enticing that they also got to go on a summer trip to Greece and Italy like you guys did? Is that anything?
Yeah,
or?
absolutely. No, I mean, it was a trip that they deserve
Yeah.
to go on, and we wanted to, you know, afford them that opportunity to do. And we felt like that would also be a time where we could spend and build those relationships with the time that we were going to get together. And right, there's no place like, nothing like leaving the country. You don't have your phone access like you usually do, and so you just get a lot more opportunities, whether you're, you know, on the bus, on the plane, driving around, you know, in the countryside. And I just think it created opportunities for us to get to know each other outside of our day-to-day lives.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, teams get to go on a foreign trip once every 4 or 5 years, and you get extra practices over the summer, which is always super helpful, and then you play some games against some European teams. So take us through that trip in terms of what you thought you got out of it, and perhaps some good moments or favorite moments that you can remember from the summer.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, just traveling abroad, getting in 10 practices before, you know, we left here, and then you just go over there and you play those games. And so it was just a lot of fun. I think in Rome, in Florence, we got to play the games there, and they really just enjoyed that. And then obviously seeing, you know, everything that Rome has to offer, you know, and then just in Greece, we spent a lot of time on the beach. And so that was just nice to have some more downtime and relaxing time, touring some islands and doing some different things when we got to Greece.
Quickly, what was your favorite part?
You know, in Florence, we had a home-cooked meal that we actually made the pasta, and it was just a lot of fun to have kind of like that home-cooked meal for us.
That's some good time. You can talk about stuff on the court, but making some homemade pasta. Did you get the recipe to bring it back?
I'm not very good
Okay.
at those things, but we have those.
Somebody
Yeah.
will have to bring it back. We'll have to
Yeah.
have an Italian night here on Race High at GW. All right, when we come back, we're going to go inside the roster of GW Women's Basketball. That's next here on Monumental Sports Network.
Raise high. This isn't just our battle cry. It's our call, our challenge. Because when you were called to Washington, you were called to higher expectations, to a higher standard. We are called here to advance knowledge, to serve society, to change the world. This is the George Washington University, and what we make is history. So stand up, be bold, take risks, press on, push harder, raise high.
Welcome back to Raise High at GW as we talk with GW Women's Basketball head coach Caroline McCombs. Let's break down the basketball and the roster that you have. We sort of talked about it last segment, but give us an overview of this group and what you're expecting from them this season.
Yeah, I think, you know, like we talked about going into year 3, it's just putting two things together, our offense and our defense, right? My first year, our defense was pretty elite. And last year, I think we made the most threes in program history. So really trying to put both of those pieces together and just be solid on both ends of the floor. And I think, you know, with the leadership and the veteran play that we have, you know, we're coming along in those areas, but really focusing on putting everything together this season.
I know you pride yourself on defense, and it helps when you have a 6th year like Maya Wataiwo, who got named to the preseason All A10 third team and the All Defensive team. She's been a stalwart. She's probably going to break all the rebounding records here. But What does it mean to have somebody like her anchor your defense?
Yeah, Maya's been terrific on defense. Just she can rebound out of area. She loves to guard 1 through 5. She's just so versatile in everything that she does. And so her having that presence, we also brought in Marin Durant, another graduate student for us, who is the tallest player that we have right now. And that's pretty important as well. So Maya won't always have to guard the other team's center, just having her be, more athletic and on the perimeter at times too this year.
Yeah, Maya was not the tallest, but she's always in there. It's that energy that she brings. So it's nice to have Marin come in over 6 foot to be able to guard somebody. like you're saying.
Absolutely. We needed that. She was a great defender at her previous institution. So really excited about having her presence on the low post for us.
Yeah, you talked about defense, you talked about threes. Well, part of that reason was Nia Robertson, who was the 6th Woman of the Year last year. Sophomore season coming, you have to have high expectations for what she can be.
She's just a bundle of energy, right? You gotta slow her down, hold her down, because she just wants to go, right? Just speed is her thing. And so obviously going into year 2, people know who she is now. There's gonna be no surprises. So just having her kind of be committed to still getting in the gym, working on her game, all of those things as a sophomore, right? And so we're excited about her, whether she plays on the ball or off the ball. She likes to fill it up, and she can get in that score column quickly.
What are the conversations like with her now coming out of a fantastic rookie season, now as a sophomore, to elevate her game to the next level? What's that next step she has to take?
Yeah, I just think that's, our job as coaches is just kind of just help her grow, help her mature in those areas. Because, again, like I said, she's going to have the best defender on her. And so no night is going to be easy. She's going to have to rely on her teammates, and she's going to get her shots within our offense. We don't want her to feel like she has to do everything herself. And so I think she's learning, she's evolving, but she's a dynamic player. She's hard to guard.
We've talked about some of your knowns, but what about some of the unknowns, at least outside of the program, some of the new faces that we'll see on the court this season?
Yeah, we tipped a little bit on Marin Durant. She can score around the rim. Again, really good defender for us inside. Madison Buford, another graduate student for us, can come in, knock down open threes, handle the ball a little bit. So those 2 players just offer us, just some experience coming in. And then I think with our first years, really expecting a lot from, Sarah Lewis. She's an athletic driver. She gets to the rim really well, plays some really good defense for us. And then Kamari Sims, can kind of handle the ball like a point forward at times, just really versatile. Monica Marsh comes in, knocks down open threes for us. So I think, we have some players that, can really come in and make an impact for us in their first year.
Through 2 years, you're someone that doesn't really play somebody 35, 37 minutes. You always look for the depth of your team. Where would you rank this team in terms of depth versus your first couple years?
Yeah, it's been exciting in practice. Buff, blue. I don't know who's going to win. Sometimes I put a team together thinking that this team is going to beat the other team, and it doesn't happen that way at all. That's how we're competing at such a high level right now. And I think the team that competes on defense and shares the ball the most on offense is usually the team that's going to win for GW. And so I'm excited about that. We have tremendous depth right now.
The anticipation is high. Coach, we appreciate the time as always. Good luck, and we'll see you again here in a couple weeks or so.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Raise High at GW. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget the season gets started here. Doubleheader at the Smith Center starting on November 6th. The women take on Howard, 5 p.m., followed by the men against Stonehill. For all of us here at GW, for Caroline McCombs, Jimmy Patsos, Chris Caputo, I'm Kevin Burke. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time here on Raise High at GW.
Security. It's something we all want. Something we need to feel safe. It's everywhere we go. It's in everything we do. But the idea of safety can be overwhelming. How do you secure what you can't see? How do you secure your future? For 80 years, WAEPA's group term life insurance has helped provide financial safety, security, and peace of mind to current and former civilian federal employees. To learn more, visit WAEPA.org.
Make your trip monumental. Sightsee through DC without overspending on gas and ride shares. Experience DC the local way. Ride, save, explore. Metro.